Hey, good morning. This is Joe from Citrus County Porch Life, bringing you the AA word of the day for Tuesday, March 11th, 2025. And the word for today is good orderly direction. And here's the quote. It is when we try to make our will conform with God's that we begin to use it rightly. To all of us, this was a most powerful, wonderful revelation. Our whole trouble had been the misuse of willpower. We had tried to bombard our problems with it instead of attempting to bring it into agreement with God's intention for us. To make, to make this increasingly possible is the purpose of AA's 12 steps, and step 3 opens the door. It is when I print this down, it prints the quote twice. So I was going to read it again. That's from 12 Steps and 12 Traditions of AA, page 40. And here's a daily reflection. All I have to do is look back at my past to see where my self will has led me. I just don't know what's best for me, and I believe my higher power does. g.o.d, which I define as good orderly direction, has never let me down, but I have let myself down quite often. Using my self will in a situation has the same result as forcing the wrong piece into a jigsaw puzzle: exhaustion and frustration. Step 3 opens the door to the rest of the program. When I ask God for guidance, I know that whatever happens is the best possible situation. Things are exactly as they are supposed to be, even if they aren't what I want or expect. God does do for me what I cannot do for myself. And it's, this has pretty much been true for every human being since God created man. Adam and Eve were told directly, don't eat the fruit. And they ate the fruit. They did what they wanted to do. They didn't do God's will right from the very beginning. And even knowing that, I did the same thing. I just wanted what I wanted. I wanted to drink myself into oblivion every chance I got. No, how could you put it? I never started drinking with the intention of not getting drunk. What was the sense of that? I just couldn't see it in my mind. Uh, and so things would happen to me. And it says here, things you didn't expect. Well, when you're doing God's will, you get things you didn't expect. But there are also unintended consequences when you're not doing God's will. And I was constantly not doing his will. And it was exhausting and it was frustrating. And I could not make the connection between my drinking and this frustration, exhaustion, depression that I had. It was always on people, places, and things, and not squarely on my own shoulders because I wasn't doing God's will for myself. And yeah, I look back now with my sobriety and I said, how the heck were you so stupid? And I really don't have an answer for it. I was just obstinate. I wasn't going to let anybody tell me how to do it. And that was it. But I was lucky enough that I finally got it. Unfortunately, my youngest brother, who died 2 years ago, who froze to death outside drunk, never got it. He told me he couldn't stop drinking. He knew that he couldn't, and he wasn't going to try anymore. And, you know, I told him, keep trying, keep trying. You always got a second chance until you don't have it. And, that time came. He just never got another chance. And it's really sad. And it is true that, we keep drinking and death, institutions, or jail. And I've seen many, many people in institutions. When I worked in neurology, neurosurgery, and neurointensive care, the floor that I was on was all private rooms. So people that were, had a problem with alcohol were there quite a bit in their own room so that no one would know who they were. And they were quite famous people too, either from Rhode Island or passing through or living there in the summers. And it was really sad to see them fail so miserably. And I just thank God that I didn't end up that way. Uh, my sponsor used to say, "You stopped drinking the day before you died," and I said, "What do you mean?" And he just say it again, and then eventually I got what he was. I got the import of what he was saying, and so for me, this is a very, very, it's very personal that I struggled that many years. Well, I picked up my first drink when I was 13, and I put it down when I was still 40, almost 41, and just the whole story was an increased alcohol consumption. Of course, when I was 13, I didn't have money, so I had to go out and work, shine shoes, do something. All of us kids did. And then when we get together, we threw our money together and we'd ask someone to get us that training liquor of all young kids, Boone's Farm, apple wine, and rocket. I don't even know if they still make it, uh, but then as I became an adult and got a job, a very good job, I had more money, and I spent it. I can't say all of it. I made good money, and I drank beer. So eventually, I drank beer. I worked my way up to beer, thinking that would kind of put off the effects. And so I forget what the cost of. I think it was like $14 for a case of Miller Lite 16-ounce cans, and that was 24 in the case. It might have been cheaper when it was on sale, so it didn't really affect me. I made some good money, and so I was never in a jackpot over money. I saved my money. I had it taken out before I even saw it, so my check was less than what I made because I invested it, and then I didn't invest it in a bank that was close. Or the bank that I worked for because I didn't want to touch that money, so I made it difficult to get to, and they didn't have all the electronic transfers they have now, and so it worked out well for me. It kept my money from going into bars because while I personally didn't spend that much on liquor, when I go to a bar, I buy people drinks, and I don't know whether to be a hot ticket or what. And, that kept up and it just got worse and worse. And then finally, at the end of the drinking, I was very solitary, so afraid to go out and drive somewhere. So I just drank at home. I just would go to work, come home, drink, sleep, get up, go to work, come home, drink, sleep. Uh, Not a very exciting life, and not doing anything in between, not even when I was drinking. I was just drinking. And misuse of willpower. I wanted I wanted that buzz and I wanted it and no one was going to tell me I couldn't have it. And if God wanted me not to do it, why didn't he just tell me not to do it? Of course, I'm getting all these signs from doctors and you're getting a fatty liver, this and that, and it just went over my head. I didn't care what they said. They weren't going to tell me what to do. So I'm glad I got it. I'm glad I found that concept of the first drink. It's the first drink that gets you drunk, not the end of the case. It's the first one that gets you drunk. And I stand by that statement, and it's kept me in good stead these 34 years. So God bless. Have a safe and sober Tuesday, and we will see you tomorrow.